Hey, welcome! Today, we're cracking open the truly fascinating and, let's be honest, kind of chilling piece of history, Paul Linebarger's 1948 Guide to Psychological Warfare. This isn't just some dusty old book, it's basically the original playbook for the battle for the mind.
And Linebarger himself sets the tone right from the get-go with this quote. It tells you immediately that we're not talking about simple posters or catchy slogans here. No, this is about getting into the deepest, most primal parts of the human mind during a conflict.
To really get what he means, we have to go way, way back. So let's jump in the time machine. We're talking about the story of Gideon, a military commander who is just wildly outnumbered. And if you look at it from a pure military standpoint, yeah, his situation is pretty much hopeless.
But see, Gideon isn't thinking conventionally. He gives his guys some pretty weird weapons. Trumpets and these lamps hidden inside clay pots. The whole idea isn't to overpower the enemy, it's to totally overwhelm their senses. Just try to imagine it. You're Midianite soldier, fast asleep. All of a sudden, the darkness just explodes with this insane noise and a ring of lights. Now you gotta remember, back then, maybe one guy in a company had a horn, and another had a lamp. So when you see 300 lights and hear 300 horns all at once, you're not thinking 300 men. You're thinking a massive, massive army is on top of it.
The result is just pure chaos. The Midianites are in a total panic. They can't tell who's a friend and who's an enemy in the dark. So what happens? They start fighting each other. They basically destroy their own army from the inside out while the survivors just run for it. Gideon's guys hardly did a thing. Which, of course, brings us to the big question here. How on earth does that happen? How can you win a war not by destroying the enemy's body, but by just completely shattering their mind and their will to fight?
Well, the answer is all about the weapon Gideon used, a discipline Linebarger calls psychological warfare. And at the heart of it all is one very specific tool: propaganda. Now, Linebarger gives us a really sharp definition here. See, propaganda isn't just, making stuff up or trying to persuade people. It is planned. It's targeted communication with a very specific goal: to influence the minds, the feelings, and ultimately the actions of a very specific group of people. And what's really fascinating is how different sides thought about this weapon. So for the Americans in World War II, they saw propaganda as a new weapon, another tool in the toolbox, right alongside tanks and planes. But the Nazis, they saw it totally differently. For them, it was a whole new kind of war. Psychological operations weren't just part of the conflict, they were the conflict. Okay, so if you're going to use this weapon, you have to know how to use it in different ways. And Linebarger breaks it all down for us into three main categories, what he calls colors. And it's all based on one simple but really critical thing: where the message is coming from. All right, first up, we've got white propaganda. This is the most straightforward of the bunch. You know exactly who's talking. The source is right there out in the open, it's official, it's on the record. Think of it as them saying, yeah, we said that. What of it? This surrender pass is a perfect example. Look at it. It's designed to look like a banknote, super official, with all these seals from the Allied nations. And it makes a formal promise backed by international law. All its power comes from being so official. It's trying to build trust by saying, hey, we are the good guys, and we follow the rules. Okay, next we slip into the shadows a bit with gray propaganda. With this stuff, you have no idea who the source is. It's totally unclear. The crazy thing is, the information could be 100% true. But because you don't know who's saying it, it just plants seeds of doubt and gets people talking. The leaflet from Bunker Hill is a classic case of this. It didn't say, hey, this is from the American Army, you should surrender. Nope. It talked directly to the average British soldier about stuff they actually cared about: class, being poor, and hey, the promise of free land. It made it feel like the message could be coming from anyone, maybe even one of their own guys, which makes it way more powerful. And that brings us to the deepest, darkest level: black propaganda. This isn't just about hiding who you are. This is about pretending to be someone else entirely. The whole thing is a complete forgery, designed to look and feel like it's coming from inside the enemy's own ranks. The whole point of black propaganda is to hijack the enemy's trust. So, take this example. An Allied-made leaflet that looks exactly like an internal German army notice. We're talking the right paper, the right stamps, the right bureaucratic language. And here's the key: it's not meant to be dropped from a plane. It's meant to be found. So when a German soldier stumbles across it, he thinks it's a real order from his own command. That makes him vulnerable in a way no foreign message ever could. But here's the thing. As powerful as all this stuff is, Linebarger is super clear that it's not magic. Psychological warfare is more like surgery than a sledgehammer. It's a precision tool. And if you don't respect its limits, the whole thing can blow up right in your face.
So Linebarger lays out 4 huge limitations you always have to think about. You're constrained by your political goals, by security risks, by the actual media you have to get your message out, and of course, by how good your team actually is.
Let's take a look at one of these, the media paradox, because it's a great story. So you'd think that if the enemy is trying to destroy your leaflets, you've lost, right? Well, not so fast. Human nature can be a funny, unpredictable thing. Case in point. In Nazi Germany, the authorities ordered the Hitler Youth to go around and collect every single Allied leaflet they could find so they could all be destroyed.
And this is where it gets incredible. The kids, being kids, did their job, but they got a little competitive about it. They noticed the leaflets all had serial numbers on them. So what did they do? They started collecting them and trading them like they were baseball cards, trying to get a complete set. The enemy's attempt to shut down the message actually created this amazing viral distribution network. It spread the Allied message way further than the Allies themselves ever could have hoped for. Just brilliant.
Okay, politics is another massive one. Whatever you're saying in your propaganda has to be perfectly in sync with your actual political goals for the war. And one of the biggest challenges is just defining the enemy. Who are you actually fighting? Is it just one guy, the ruler? Is it the political party, or is it the entire population? You know, that classic line, "We aren't fighting the German people, just the Nazis." That's pure psychological warfare. It's designed to drive a wedge between the people and their leaders. But here's the catch. That message had to exist alongside the official political reality of the war, like the demand for unconditional surrender, which was aimed at the entire German state. It's a really tricky balancing act.
So when you put it all together, what you've got is this incredibly powerful double-edged sword. It's an amazing tool for getting things done without brute force. But, and this is a huge but, it's always tied to reality, to politics, to security, and to the wild, unpredictable nature of human beings.
And that really leaves us with a final and pretty sobering thought. Remember, Linebarger wrote all this back in 1948. We're talking about an era of radio broadcasts and paper leaflets. Fast forward to today. We're living in an age of global social media, a 24/7 news cycle, and artificial intelligence. The tools have changed in ways he couldn't even imagine. So the question becomes even more urgent now, doesn't it? Who is waging this war for our minds today? And maybe more importantly, how would we even know?